What's up, everybody? This is the Digital World Podcast, and we got a good one for you today. Stay tuned to the end because today's episode will make you really start thinking about the current scenario we're in this digital asset space. So I went ahead and ended on this note in one of the episodes yesterday, and I kind of wanted to dig a little deeper into this video. So let me show you a few parts, and then we'll have a discussion and continue it.
Is complexity because there is so much going on. I mean, we've been discussing all these issues in the BIS Innovation Summit, and it's really mind-boggling what's going on in the industry. The industry is on fire. It started with mobile payments, then we had DLT technology coming in. Now we have crypto, we have decentralized finance, DeFi. We have a lot going on also in the field of partial payments. We have AI and machine learning being used increasingly in all aspects of central bank activities. So we've got first to make sense of what's happening, and second, we need a plan, we need a vision, and we don't want the industry, we don't want the big techs take the first mover advantage.
Yeah.
He just said he doesn't want the big tech to take the first mover advantage. That's why we know with Libra, this awakened the beasts that are the central banks, and they shut it down immediately. Now we know that Libra has obtained a new name, which is Diem. Okay, so that's a very interesting thing he said right there. And ultimately, these banks don't want someone else to take away their control. They want ultimate control. Augustine Carson's the head of the BIS. Sorry, yes, Augustine Carson's. He is the he even said in one of the videos I showed in yesterday's episodes, he said they want complete control. They want to know, and he gave the example, we don't know who uses $100 bill. And I believe that with a central bank digital currency, they could see exactly who spends what, where they spend it, and how they spend it, everything. Now, there's this other interesting clip here. Let me take you to, which he says something that left me. I have a lot of questions, so here, let's play it.
Cryptocurrency is actually sitting with mainstream things like Bitcoin. Maybe not mainstream, but more mainstream than what central banks are doing. Are they competitors? Do they sit side by side?
No, they're not. They're not. I mean, Bitcoin can be an investment instrument, and it's not for me to judge on that and to advise on that. But it has failed the test of being a currency. It has failed the test of being a payment instrument, just because the value is moving around so much. And so central banks are focused on instruments that will provide liquidity, that will provide safety, and that can be used as a commodity in the global payment system. And that's why we want to look into central bank digital currency. So crypto has its place under the sun, but it's different. It's not a payment instrument.
How important is control of currencies for central banks? Is the fear of losing control part of what's at play here?
No, it's not about control. It's about providing security to citizens. I mean, the remit that is given to central banks by parliaments, by citizens, is to protect financial stability, and we want to be able to just do it. And if you want to ensure financial stability, you need to be able to inject liquidity at the heart of the system, to be a lender of last resort. And that's what we've been doing in real-time gross settlement systems, and that's what we want keep doing in a digital ecosystem, and that's what CBDC is about.
Whoa. Did he just say inject liquidity and be a lender of last resort? Well, I think I could help you, buddy. I think I know something that will help solve that issue. And that's why when you see Brad Garlinghouse in a meeting with central bankers, with people from the IMF, with all these regulators, you think they're over there just chatting it up, just having a good time, talking about who knows what? No, they're talking about the use case that Ripple's native token would bring to the financial system. I mean, he says it pretty clearly here. Like words, like DAI says, words mean things, and this is an example that words mean things. Now, another thing he says here is about Bitcoin. He said it's failed the test on becoming a currency, and he says that it's speculative as well in nature. So there you go. Bitcoin's use case doesn't go very far, and it doesn't solve the issues, the frictions of the global payment system. Now let's move forward. Here we see, and Jack the Rippler makes the point exactly clear from what we just heard in the video. Bitcoin is a store of value and reached $60,000. XRP is also a store of value. It's a bridge currency for giant banks, a bridge currency for central banks, for institutions, for micropayments, for the gaming world, for everything and for everyone. It's literally solving all the issues and the frictions of the payment system. Now we see here Anderzel said, look at the big picture. We know that Ripple has been working with central banks. Hence, we just talked about Brad Garlinghouse being with central bankers and people from the IMF and all kinds of regulators, right? And they've also had Ben Bernanke, which was working for the Federal Reserve during the Great Financial Crisis. Okay, and we've seen the European Central Bank, the Fed, World Economic Forum, meeting with the BIS. We know there's been private XRP L's for CBDCs. So he says, "Come on, yeah, I agree with him. Come on, guys, it's right in front of our faces, okay? And this is something that we can't disregard. Just the price is a distraction, okay? That's not what's important. It's what the underlying protocol, the inter, underlying networks is what's important. Here we see XRP attorney seal. Like I said before, he says, when banks start closing on a global scale, that is a sign of changing financial system. Open your eyes, nothing is a coincidence, zero doubt. And we're seeing that. All the banks are closing in on CBDCs. And Benoit Courrier, if that's how you pronounce it, just said that they're looking into it. They're looking for something that can inject liquidity and be a lender of last resort. And he mentioned the CBDCs. So we're very close. We're reaching that tipping point. Okay? So keep prepare yourselves. Make sure that you don't miss out on this opportunity because it's here and it's come to stay. It's not going anywhere. Now, I want to show this video by Brad Garlinghouse.
Amount that also the problem that you're trying to solve is to reduce the amount of money that is parked in the Nostro and Vostro accounts. Is that not?
Yeah, it's a really important point, and I think when I think about the market opportunity, it isn't just about selling technology and solutions to banks. It's about leveraging a digital asset, and XRP is uniquely efficient. It's 1,000 times faster than Bitcoin, 1,000 times less expensive than Bitcoin. So using XRP to fund liquidity positions in real time. So as Faisal is describing, today, banks, corporates pre-fund accounts around the world such that they have good funds, liquid funds available to make payments. There's trillions of dollars pre-funded.
Like 30 trillion, 20 trillion. No one knows, right?
No one knows exactly. Well, I've seen numbers as high as 30 trillion. I've seen numbers in the 10 trillion. It's a really big number. I don't think we're going to have to argue about how
it does nothing when it's parked and not doing a transaction.
Well, it's actually even worse. And again, this isn't something the mass audience is interested in, but at Money 2020, the nature of how capital ratios and stress tests, it used to be that your Nostro accounts counted positively towards your capital ratio.
Not
post
anymore.
Basel III, post 2009, 2010, people realize, that money I have parked at the Bank of Faisal, I don't trust that guy. That's a high risk capital. And so that doesn't count towards your capital ratio post Basel III. So now the incentive for banks to park capital, to park liquidity, goes down and down. And an amazing stat that I thought Dilip touched on a little bit loosely is, although global remittances and global payments continue to grow, the number of correspondent banking relationships has contracted by 50% in the last 15 years.
CBR is getting reduced quite significantly.
Demand is increasing, the supply is decreasing. We have a problem.
Yeah,
we also have an opportunity.
Yeah. And there was
and go ahead and show or give XRP the world's gift, and you solve the issue. Now, keep in mind, like I mentioned on the show, and I'll keep reminding you, and this is not to create any fear or anything, but it's to remind you that yes, this technology is going to revolutionize the financial system in the world. Also, keep in mind that it will change your freedoms in a sense, and there'll be more control. Okay, if you don't, it could get to the point where if you don't comply with what is being asked of you in this new world, they can freeze your account because it's all digital. And now these are my opinions, and some people may consider that an unpopular opinion, but I'm gonna go ahead and say it. I think that we have to be honest and not be naive about what this means. You think central banks, they've always tried to gain more and more control, and the Federal Reserve is reaching its ultimate control of being the first lender and last lender. Okay, and it's the ultimate reality, and I'm not gonna shy away from being honest about the things that lie ahead. Okay, now Brian Brooks, which is he's a very smart guy. Take a listen to what he has to say.
It's very perplexing to me, and I'll tell you why. Okay, I will give him the first statement that it's highly volatile, and at this point, it's tough to use for transactions. But then he says it's not really a store of value, and then says it's essentially a substitute for gold. So the 4,000, 5,000 year store of value that we know historically is gold. And he just said it's like gold, but it's not a store of value. So does he not think gold is a store of value? And with what the Fed's doing right now, is $1, is he really making the case that that's a store of value?
Well, hey, Joe, you're thinking about it exactly the right way. I mean, there's a lot to unpack there. So first of all, as a store of value, I would just say there's a reason people have flocked to Bitcoin in the last year, right? Which is something else happened in the last year. And that is that we increased the money supply by 40%. So when you do that in a world of supply and demand, it means that the dollar is at least a 40% less good store of value than it was a year ago. And that is one of the reasons people look to Bitcoin. But Joe, the point I really want to make is the dollar may not actually be backed by anything. Obviously, we went off the gold standard in the Nixon administration. But cryptocurrencies actually are backed by something. They're backed by underlying networks. And what you're buying when you buy a crypto token, whether it's Bitcoin or anything else, is you're buying a piece of a financial network that's being built to transact all kinds of stuff. And the number of things that have gone on chain in the last 2 years is enormously high. That's why the cryptocurrency market today is almost a $2 trillion market. I believe in the wisdom of crowds personally, and I think that there's kind of like forces of the future at work here and then forces of the status quo. I think the crowds are telling you that these networks are where finance is going in the future. I'd want to be part of that.
Wow. He said these cryptocurrencies are backed by underlying networks. And now my question to you is, do you know what you own? Because if you don't, then what are you doing investing into it, right? So, I mean, yes, I understand there's some things that you can throw a little money at and it's for speculation purposes, right? It goes up, okay, cool. If not, then you're willing to lose that money. But if the majority of what you're invested in is all speculation, what are you doing? That's why you need to know what you own and see and understand the underlying network. What kind of utility does it bring to the forefront? Here, Digital Asset Investor posted this, and I thought it was funny. Kevin OLeary calling Bitcoin China coin or blood coin, and the look on these Bitcoin maxis' face is priceless. And let's take a quick listen.
Considered, and that is this coin compliant with committees? And the real issue there is around compliance on sustainability and compliance around other issues, such as, is this coin manufactured in countries that are abusing human rights or have sanctions against them? And I'm really speaking now of China. I've had many institutions tell me they do not want to own China coin. And as a result, that's going to be a problem going forward because the majority of coin is mined in China. So I'm spending a fair amount of my time these days trying to deal with miners that are willing to mine compliantly, not just for me, but other institutions that are really interested in owning a coin that have some kind of provenance to them.
Okay, and that's enough of that. Okay, now we'll go here. And he also posted, the Josh investor also posted something Mark Cuban was talking about with Raul Paul.
That, Bitcoin is not going to be a currency. It was called cryptocurrency because that's the way they wanted to market it. It's a crypto asset. It's not a currency.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not going to be a currency. Oh. And it's not going to be, a hedge against fiat and printing too many fiat dollars. No. It is a store of value. Bitcoin particularly is a store of value that is going to increase in value because it's scarce. And if you have more buyers and sellers, it'll retain its value and most likely go up in value. And that's a good thing. It still doesn't have any more utility right now other than a banana, right? So if you're hungry, I'd rather have a banana than Bitcoin, but I'd rather have Bitcoin stored, right? Because in terms of value, Bitcoin is...
Yeah, so he's just laying down the real truth. And I think this is interesting by I Am Legion. He said banks have 4 options. You either completely commit to crypto, right? And you generate new revenue stream in zero interest environment. Or 2, rely on the government to keep bailing you out. Or 3, have XRP to save their you know what. Or 4, do all of the above. And I thought that was a pretty funny breakdown. I hope this episode has brought you some value. This is the Digital World Podcast, and are you ready for what's coming is my question to you. This is the Digital World Podcast, and I'll see you in the next episode.